First, sew the horn onto the unicorn's head between round 10 and round 11. Let's locate the position first. Count from front to back. This is round 1. Round 10. This is round 11. Place a stitch marker here. Count from both sides of the eyes toward the center. Find the middle position. Mark this spot with a stitch marker. Let's start sewing. Use a thicker sewing needle. Thread the yarn tail through the needle. Sew roughly at the spot first. The approximate position of the horn is set. Now check if the horn are centered. If the position feels off, feel free to adjust it. Then, sew the horn by matching each stitch 1 to 1. Weave the yarn tail back and forth inside the fabric several times to secure it. Cut off any excess yarn. The unicorn's horn is now sewn on. Next, sew on the ears. Sew the ears between round 10 and round 11 of the head. Leave 1 stitch space between the ears and the horn. Let's first confirm the position. Round 1. Round 10 we will sew between round 10 and round 11. Leave 1 stitch space between the ear and the horn. Use a stitch marker to mark the sewing position. The other side is the same. Leave 1 stitch space between the ear and the horn. Next, let's sew it together. First, we will use the 2 yarn tails of the inner ear. Thread the yarn tail of the inner ear onto the sewing needle. Insert the needle where the stitch marker is attached. Sew across for stitches. Remove the stitch marker. Thread the yarn tail on this side onto the sewing needle as well. Sew across for stitches. Then pass the needle through the inner ear part. Pull the yarn tail out from the same spot. The inner ear is now sewn. Next, let's sew on the outer ear. Thread the yarn tail of the outer ear onto your sewing needle. Do the same with the other yarn tail and pull the yarn tails from the same spot. This side of the ear is now sewn. Sew the other side the same way. This is how it looks after sewing both ears. Be careful not to cut the yarn tail while sewing. Once you're sure both ears are symmetrical, then trim the extra yarn tail. Pull the yarn tail out from the same spot. Then tie a knot. Trim off the extra yarn tail. Tuck the yarn end inside the fabric. Handle the other yarn tails the same way. Next, let's make the eyelashes. Take about 10 inches of black yarn. Pull out 2 strands from it. There are 4 strands in total. Pull them out one by one like this. You can set the remaining 2 strands aside. Thread the yarn onto the sewing needle. Twist the yarn like this. Make sure to use a thinner sewing needle here. This one is thicker. This one is thinner. We'll use the thinner one. One end of the yarn is long, and the other is short. Hold the head upside down like this during sewing. Insert the needle behind the eye. If you insert the needle straight like this, it might not go in. Insert the needle flattened at a slant like this. Then pull it out from any side. Pull out a bit of the yarn tail. Separate these 2 strands to sew. One strand should go diagonally upward. One strand should go backward. The finished eyelash looks like this. Thread one strand onto a thinner sewing needle. First, sew one stitch diagonally upward. Insert the needle at a spot diagonally above the back stitch. Pull the needle out from any spot. Thread this yarn tail onto the sewing needle as well. Then sew backward. Sew at a slight diagonal angle. Sew backward again. Pull the needle out from any spot. And just like that, one eyelash is done. You can tidy it up a bit. Pull the yarn tail out from the same spot. Tie the two yarn tails together to secure them. Cut off any excess yarn. Tuck the yarn end inside the fabric. Pass the yarn tail through the fabric several more times. Cut off any excess yarn. Use the same method to embroider the eyelash on the other side. The eyelashes on both sides are completed. Next, take out 2 strands of black yarn, each about 10 inches long. Now, let's embroider the nostrils. First, thread the yarn tail onto the sewing needle. Use the thinner needle. We'll sew between round 2 and round 3. Let's find the exact spot first. Round 1, round 2, round 3. Attach stitch markers. It's roughly around these 2 spots. Let's start sewing. Insert the needle anywhere you like. Come out just next to the stitch marker. Leave a little yarn tail outside. Don't pull it completely inside the fabric. Then sew a French knot stitch here. Hold the needle and the head together firmly. Hold the yarn with one hand. Wrap it around the needle twice. Next, hold the spot with your hand and gently pull the needle out. And just like that, you've made a French knot stitch. Then insert the needle a little bit beside it. Pull the needle out from any spot you like. Take off the stitch marker. This finishes embroidering one nostril. The other nostril is done the same way. Insert the needle just a little beside the stitch marker. Pinch the needle and the head together. Wrap the yarn around the needle twice. Press this spot with your hand. Pull the needle out. Insert the needle just a little beside. Both nostrils are now embroidered. Pull the yarn tail out from the same spot. Then tie a knot. Trim the extra yarn. Tuck the yarn end inside the fabric. Insert the sewing needle from the side. Tuck the yarn end inside the fabric. The nostrils are all done.